Hey friends, if you're new to decorating with royal icing, the techniques in today's video are the perfect place to start for you for a couple reasons. First, they don't require any precision piping, so these are very beginner friendly. And second, I'm using only a couple colors, but they still look really impressive. So if you try these techniques, be sure to tag me in your post on Instagram. I would love to see how your cookies turned out. And while you're here, be sure to click subscribe. I'm releasing new decorating tutorials every day this week, and I don't want you to miss out. So check out these techniques and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Check out my recipe for royal icing in my holiday decorating playlist. So in total, we need 3 colors of icing and 3 different consistencies. The instructions for the adjustments are on the screen, so you can just follow along. If you have questions on consistency adjustments, leave them in the comments below. Alright, so I am using a number 2 tip and really just following the perimeter of the cookie, going kind of slow but steady around the outside, and then just kind of make concentric circles or do squiggles. Fill the cookie in really however you want. You're just trying to get the icing down, and you can smooth it out later. See, so this is pretty nice and easy so far. And then to smooth the icing out and evenly distribute, I'm just using a toothpick and kind of making little circles and swirling it around just to close in all the gaps and try to get an even layer. We're going to be dipping this in sugar now, so really this is a very forgiving decoration approach. So, I mean, you don't have to be perfect. If you make a mistake, it's going to be covered in sugar anyhow, so it's going to be kind of camouflage. So this is a great cookie to start with. As you get more comfortable with this technique, you can try doing 2 or 3 cookies at a time. I wouldn't go too much beyond that because you want to make sure the icing is still nice and wet in order to have the sugar adhere properly. Once you've done all the red icing, you need to let the cookies dry for about 20 to 30 minutes before you pipe on this white layer. So now this is the thick white icing, and I'm using a tip number 21, so it's just an open star tip. And this is really kind of just a casual squiggle back and forth, and then finishing off with some sparkling sugar. Okay, so the mittens are pretty much the same thing as the stockings. They're a little bit more difficult because you've got a thumb to deal with versus the stocking was kind of an open space. But again, I'm just going around the perimeter of the cookie, trying to, keep a nice edge and then squiggling it down in the middle. I'm going to use that same toothpick technique to kind of swirl it around and smooth it out. So to put the sugar on here, now I'm going to try a face down technique. If you've done a really bumpy job with your icing, a face down sugar approach is kind of your best friend because when you press the cookie into the sugar, it's going to smooth out the icing a little bit more, so it's even more forgiving. If you don't have a lot of sugar, this can be challenging to do. The one downside I have for dipping cookies face down in sugar is that some of the sugar always sticks to the cookie, so it's not the most tidy way to do this. And again, you're going to let these dry for 20 to 30 minutes, so ideally you would do your mittens and stockings at the same time, right? Since they're the same colors and same approach. And then just doing the same kind of casual squiggle, topping with the sparkling sugar, and it's as easy as that. Alright, so the last one in this tutorial is the Christmas wreath. So what I really like about this is that it looks really challenging when it's finished, but the technique is pretty simple. So I am using the number 21 tip. It's the same tip we used on the stocking and mitten. And I'm kind of going in at a 45-degree angle, pressing, kind of squeezing the bag to make a little blob and then pulling away quickly. So what that's doing is it's making a blob on the cookie, and then when you pull it away, it's making kind of that Hershey Kiss shape. And then since this icing has a little bit more water added to it than the very thick white icing, this is going to kind of melt and settle in a little bit. So it's going to look kind of jarringly spiky right when you put the icing down, but it's going to kind of relax into kind of a more natural, kind of bushy shape over time. So once you finish all of the wreaths, you want to let this dry for 20 to 30 minutes. The dry time here is pretty important because if the icing isn't dry enough, you'll increase your chances of having color bleed between the green and the red. So I'm just piping kind of the bow area. Again, it's just 2 triangles that meet in the middle. It's really straightforward. And then popping on a few kind of decorative berries. I do them in clusters of 2 or 3, sometimes just a single berry. It's, kind of a Bob Ross moment for you. So, wherever you feel like there needs to be a berry, put a berry. I mean, it's your wreath, do it however you want it to be. And then once you've finished all of your bows and berries, you want to let this dry just for 10 to 15 more minutes because we need to put the knot on the bow still. So here it's not as critical for the icing to be fully set because we're just putting red on red.